Hi everyone and welcome back to the Jolie Beauty YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to get this grungy purpley smoky eye. So if you want to find out how to do this look, then just keep on watching. I'm going to take the Illamasqua Gel Precision I'm going to take the Gel Precision Illamasqua. So I'm going to take the Illamasqua Gel Precision and the Illamasqua the Illamasqua why? Then I'm taking because this is quite a grungy look, there could be some fallout from the glitters and the shadows. So I'm going to start with the eyes first and then do the skin afterwards. For brows, I'm going to use the Budge Proof Brow Pomade in the shade Light Ash Brown. Usually I use medium ash brown, but when I'm doing a bit more of an intense look, sometimes I don't want the eyebrows to be too heavy. So that's why I'm going to use the light shade today. I'm just going to take that on the number 10 brush from the Mythical Dreamers brush set. If you guys want an in-depth brow tutorial, then just let me know and I can do that for you. So I was really inspired to do a grungy look today because the Smashing Pumpkins got released on the Download Festival lineup, which is so exciting. I'm such a massive fan and I'll definitely be going to Download this year. One of my other favourite bands, Tool, is also going to be playing, and I haven't seen them since 2006, so that's going to be really cool. I'm just going to clean up those brows a little bit using the P. Louise base in Rumor 01 and the number 8 eye brush. So I just like to take the base and then carve out the shape just to clean them up. I'm just taking the same base all over my eye in patting motions just to create a really blank canvas for the look. I'm carving out the top of my eyebrow with the Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the shade Vanilla. That's because I don't want it to be quite as pale as the underneath of the eyebrow. And I'm just going to blend those edges away with a damp sponge. I'm making sure just to blend the top of the line so I don't disturb the line that I've created next to the eyebrow. So today I'm going to be using the Royale palette and I'm going to start off with this peachy shade here. I'm going to take the number 4 eye brush and blend that shade into my crease. This is going to act like our transition colour. I'm just using circular and wind wipe motions just to really blend that into the socket. This shade can look a little bit metallic in the pan, but when it's used like this, it just makes the perfect peachy transition. I'm really blowing this out at the outer corner because we're going to clean up here with a wipe anyway at the end of the look, so don't worry if you start bringing the shades quite low down. Next, I'm going to take this matte violety pink shade here, and I'm going to take the number 7 brush, which is a slightly smaller blending brush. I'm just going to pop this in the crease as well, blending up into that peachy shade. I'm really trying to pack the pigment right into that crease and then extend it out to create a nice cat eye. And then I'm taking the number 4 brush and just blending those two shades together. Now don't worry if it looks a little bit messy at the moment. We're going to really pack some purples and blacks to kind of smoke this out loads. So you'll only see a tiny bit of this kind of pinky colour. So this is just going to create a nice transition so you don't have like a harsh purple next to a skin tone. So the purple that we're going to use is this one right here. And I'm going to pack that on with the number 5 eye brush. So I'm going to pack this on really heavily all the way up to the crease. I'm using patting motions to really push the pigment in so we get a really full coverage on the eyelid. This shade's got an almost blue iridescence to it, so it looks really deep and full. And I'm just going to use the number 7 brush again just to blend that purple back into the pink. And don't be scared to really pull that colour this way. So I'm just blending back and forth between the black, the purple, and just running a bit of the black into the crease as well, just to give it a little bit of depth. So when you're doing this, just make sure you're separating all your brushes out. So I'm still using the original brush I used to blend the pink into the purple, and then I'm using the same brush again that I used to do the purple and black, and I'm keeping them separate so I always know what brush I'm using for which blend. That just stops your colours getting muddy. I'm just concentrating quite a lot of black just on this outer corner here, and I'm going to clean it up with a wipe in a second. So now I'm going to take a baby wipe and just clean up those edges. The best method to do this is to fold it over like that, and then you can pull it really taut and then just move it back and forward. And it should start creating a really sharp line for you. So the top shadow is pretty much done, so I'm going to go ahead and start on my face. As ever, I'm going to prep my face with the Uni-Glow serum, which gives a lovely dewy look. Then I'm going to use a little bit of the NIOD Photography Fluid in opacity 12. Then I'm using Illamasqua Skin Base in the shade 7.5, and I'm going to apply that with the number 2 face brush. This brush is amazing if you want super full coverage. Okay, so my foundation's on and I'm going to go in with concealer. As ever, I'm going to use the Born This Way concealer in Vanilla. This is my ultimate favourite concealer at the moment. It has definitely overtaken Tarte for me. It's just a little bit more moisturising underneath the eyes, and in general the colour match is a tad warmer, so it suits my complexion a little bit more. So I'm going to take this underneath the eyes, and when I get to the sharp line that we've created there with the white, I'm going to just take the doe foot and kind of cut that area there just to make it extra sharp. I do like this concealer just to set a little bit because I feel like it blends really lovely when it's just a little bit drier. I'm going to pop a little bit on my chin, the underneath of my cheekbones. Hair wants to be involved. Oh, still wants to be involved. I'm going to pop a little bit on my forehead and a tiny bit down the centre of my nose, plus a bit on my upper lip. So I'm taking my Beauty Blender Pro Sponge and I'm just going to start by blending underneath the eyes. I like to blend up onto the sides of my nose a little bit, and when I get to this area that I want to keep nice and sharp, I'm just going to really get that nib and turn the sponge on its side and press, so I can keep a nice clean line, and just use the edge a bit to blend that harsh edge there. And that keeps your eyeshadow looking really nice and crisp just in that area. And just blending the other areas of the face. I really do love the Beauty Blender Pro Sponge, which is the black one. It is a lot softer than the other beauty blenders. It does mean you do have to replace it more often, but I feel like the softness makes it worth the trade. When I get to thin areas like down the centre of my nose, I use the thinner side just to make sure that line stays exactly where I put it. I am going to add a little bit of liquid contour today. I'm going to use the Illamasqua contour stick. This is called Gel Sculpt. I think it's only in one shade, and this is called Silhouette. It's got a gel-like consistency, so it's not a cream, so it's quite transparent. So if you struggle with a cream contour, this might be a really good option for you. I'm just going to pop a bit of this on my cheekbones, on the end of my nose, and on my chin, and a touch on the sides of my forehead. I'm just using my sponge just to blend that in. I always blend in an upwards motion when I'm doing my cheeks, because I don't want the shadow to come any lower than where I placed it. I'm going to set that a little bit using the Perfectly Sculpted Contour Palette. So to set the underneath my eyes, I'm going to use this shade right here, and I'm just going to go straight in with my sponge. It's important before you set the underneath of your eyes to make sure you haven't got any creases in your concealer. If you put a powder over creases in concealer, it will actually turn the creases kind of permanent, so they look like fine lines and wrinkles. So make sure you pat out any creasing first before you pop the powder over the top. This will set, give coverage and brighten all in one. So it makes a really big difference to the under eyes. I don't know if you can see that. I also take this kind of on the sides of my nose a little bit as well and pull as many funny faces as I can. I'm just going to dab a little bit of that on my chin as well, because I like to bring that forward a little bit. For the rest of the face, I'm going to take this shade right here and the number 1 brush from the Mythical Dreamers set. just to lightly set the rest of the face. Then I'm taking the number 3 face brush, which is specially made for contouring, and I'm going to take this shade right here. I'm going to pop that just underneath my cheekbone a little bit. I like to keep this quite far back as I don't really like a contour that comes all the way in. I'm also going to take that underneath the chin, especially in this area. And once that's done, I'm going to blend that all together and warm up the face with this shade here. This is the number 1 brush again. I'm going to swirl that all over where I put that contour and blend upwards. And that should give you a nice 3-dimensional cheek. I'm also going to do the same technique just to blend the neck. Just to clean up, I'm going to take that lightest shade again on the Beauty Blender and just carve out the underneath of the cheekbones. I think this really gives a little bit extra to the look. And again, get going with your big brush and blend together. If anybody wants an in-depth contour video, then just let me know. I can give tips for all different types of face shapes, not just my own, so just let me know if you want to see a video like that. I'm going to add a little bit of contour to my nose, so I'm taking the number 1 eye brush, and I'm going to take this shade right here that we used underneath the cheeks, and I'm just going to pop a little bit of that on the tip of my nose, as I like to shorten my nose a little bit. And a very subtle little amount just from my eyebrow going down my nose like that. The trick with nose contour is to blend, blend, blend. But I do have a little trick for you. If you feel like it's gone a little bit harsh, you can just take this powder that we took to set the face and just dust that a little bit over the lines that you've created. And that'll just push it back a couple of notches so it's not so crazy intense. And you can see that's given a much subtler look. Whew, coffee break. Okay, so I'm going back to the eyes now. So I'm going to take the Illamasqua Gel Precision Liner and I'm just going to line my bottom waterline. I'm using the number 10 eye brush to apply this. Ooh, black. It is very black. I do like this one. It does transfer a little bit, but it's not unmanageable. It doesn't dry out that quickly either, so it's quite good for that. To smoke out, I'm going to use the same brush and then the black shade from the Royale palette. And honestly, this is so pigmented, you only need a touch under the eye because we're going to blend this in a second. And if you put too much on, it will go everywhere because it's just got so much pigment. And I'm just taking the eyeshadow maybe 3/4 the way in. I'm not taking it all the way up because we've already got a waterline liner in the corner. So I'm just going to take my number 7 eye brush and the purple shade right here, and I'm going to smoke out that waterline. I only smoke it a touch in that very corner because I do want a crisp line at the end. If you really want to smoke it out more, you could take the pink underneath and do the same again, but I'm just going to leave it there for now. I'm going to pop a bit of bling on the inner corner. I think when you have like a very dark look like this, it's nice just to brighten up that spot there, and also underneath the brow just a touch. You can leave it matte if you want, but today I'm going to use the Artist Couture Cocoa Bling. I'm going to use my number 8 brush and just wet it with a little bit of the Mario Badescu spray. That just helps to intensify the pigment just a little. And I'm going to pop that just in that inner corner and a tiny bit underneath. Just blend it. Be really careful with this stuff because it's quite flyaway, so you have to be quite precise. As I'm putting it on, I can see it floating in the air around me. It's a very, very glittery pigment. And then just a touch underneath my brow bone at the highest point. If it ever starts looking slightly harsh, you can just take a clean fluffy brush and blend it down a little bit. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of mascara on and then we're on to lashes. So I'm just going to pop some lashes on. This style hasn't been released yet. This is a brand new one we're planning on releasing in the beginning of next year, so that's very exciting. I'm just using my Lash Lock glue and letting that dry for around 30 seconds. With the Lash Lock glue, it's important that you allow the glue to get quite dry. It's either wet and doesn't stick, or it's perfect and it will just adhere on contact. I'm just using applicators just to pop those into place. With lashes, I always come in from above, get the middle secure first, and then push the end into place, and then finally the inner corner. To highlight today, I'm going to use the Cocoa Bling pigment again, and I'm just going to take it on the number 7 brush, just on the tops of my cheekbones. I'm going to take a little bit down the nose. I'm using the number 8 brush here, and blend it in with my finger. A touch on the tip of my nose, the top of my lip. Then I'm just going to spritz my face with a little of the Mario Badescu Rose Water Spray. That just takes the powdery look away and turns the skin back into skin. For lips today, I'm using a Jordana Easy Liner. This is in the shade Rock and Rose. I'm keeping my lips quite neutral. For lipstick, I'm using the Illamasqua lipstick in the shade Bear. And I'm topping off the look with Essence Lip Gloss. This is in the shade Happiness in a Bottle. And that's the completed look. I hope you really enjoyed the tutorial today. We are going to be giving away one Royale palette to one of you guys watching right now. To be in with a chance of winning, all you have to do is write your favourite festival down in the comment section below. We'll be randomly drawing one winner on the 30th of November. So good luck everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. So glad when you just can't get into boxes.